And welcome to CBN NewsWatch. I'm Ephraim Graham. Coming up, we've got the latest numbers in a new consumer inflation report. Plus, one of the first things President Biden did upon taking office, canceling President Trump's border wall. So what's been the impact of that decision?
Without that infrastructure, without that barrier there, the cartels are free to cross their products anywhere that they want.
And how else has it affected taxpayers, contractors, and workers? John Cooper, the front man for the Christian band Skillet, shares the story behind their newest single.
When we were coming with the title, Surviving the Game, it just felt right to me.
We'll hear what he has to say about their latest music in his interview with Studio 5. Those stories and more today on CBN NewsWatch.
This is CBN NewsWatch.
And we begin this half hour with your money. You've probably felt your wallet taking a bigger hit lately, paying more for things like milk and eggs, not to mention the rising cost of gas, clothes, and other goods and services. It's all because consumer inflation rose 0.4% in September. That's up slightly from August. Today's government report also shows the inflation index stands at 5.4% over the past year. And bottlenecks in business supply chains have led to shortages. President Biden meets with CEOs and leaders of the nation's biggest ports today, looking to solve the supply chain issues. And consumers are bracing themselves for even higher prices and shipping delays this holiday season. Charlene Aaron is on the story.
Bottlenecks and backups at some of the nation's busiest shipping ports are creating a shortage of just about everything, from computers and furniture to household items. President Biden meeting today with major retailers and suppliers, including Walmart, UPS, and Home Depot, as well as port leaders, an effort to stave off shortages Americans may face as delays threaten the holiday shopping season.
What happens with the railroads in the Midwest and warehouses across the country affects the number of ships that everyone sees out here in the harbor.
Ports in Los Angeles and Long Beach, California account for 40% of all shipping containers entering the U.S. According to the Marine Exchange of Southern California, as of Monday, there were 62 ships docked at the two ports and 81 waiting to dock and unload. The result? Empty store shelves.
In order to keep your shelves full, we have to order 8 weeks in advance, 8 to 6 weeks.
Basically, what I've been telling people to do is start shopping early. Even before Halloween.
And if you're hoping to buy that hot toy for a child this Christmas, Amazon says order now. Otherwise, you're likely to receive a message saying out of stock or limited supply or expect delays. And it's not just toys in short supply. Financial Issues radio and TV host Dan Celia told CBN's Global Lane what's behind the supply crisis.
First and foremost, a trucking issue more than it is anything else. The supply chain bottleneck started with manufacturing issues. They couldn't manufacture fast enough. And then we had a container bottleneck, those big shipping containers. A year ago, it cost $1,900 to use a container. Now it's costing $16,000 because they're using the container for storage on the ships and in the ports, and there's a shortage of that, creating another bottleneck.
Celia says the issue could drag on for quite some time, which he believes points to increased inflation.
We haven't even begun to see the inflation that is going to come from all of this to get these products into the stores, if we can ever do it. And I'm more worried about food getting to supermarkets than I am anything, because that could be another problem.
But Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen is cautioning against panic buying.
I think there's no reason for consumers to panic about the absence of goods that they're going to want to acquire at Christmas.
Meanwhile, the Port of Los Angeles has committed to operating 24/7 to try to reduce the congestion. Big retailers and shipping companies are also pledging to expand their hours. Charlene Aaron, CBN News.
House Democrats passed a short-term increase in the nation's debt ceiling Tuesday. That allows the government to pay its bills into early December and avoid an unprecedented default. President Biden is expected to sign the measure later this week, but a potential crisis has only been averted for now. It expires in early December. Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell has warned the president Republicans will not help to pass a debt extension as they did in the Senate vote just last week. The White House is criticizing Texas Governor Greg Abbott for playing politics. That's in response to the governor's executive order banning any vaccine mandates in Texas, including at private businesses. The ban contradicts Biden's mandate for employees to require vaccinations or testing. In announcing his order, the governor tweeted, "The COVID-19 vaccine is safe, effective, and our best defense against the virus, but should always remain voluntary and never forced." Legal experts say the White House mandate overrides the state ban. Some Texas business-based companies like American Airlines as well as Southwest Airlines plan to obey the White House mandate. We want to take a quick look at some other big stories we're following for you right now in the CBN newsroom. The Biden administration says the U.S. will reopen land borders to non-essential travel. However, people visiting from Canada and Mexico will need to be vaccinated to enter the U.S. Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas says he is pleased to be taking steps to resume regular travel. The reopening will start in early November. Evacuations continue after a major highway in Southern California gets hit with intense wildfires, causing a shutdown. At least 200 firefighters battled the fire, which scorched 8,000 acres along the coast of Santa Barbara. The spread was due to strong wind gusts of up to 70 miles an hour moving across the area. On the north side of California, fire crews increased as wildfires destroyed dozens of mobile homes, RVs, and a park building. No injuries are reported at this time. In a show of defiance, North Korea's Kim Jong-un showcased a range of nuclear missiles built to deter U.S. influence. The military move comes amid stalled talks between the Biden administration and North Korean leaders. CBN's Brody Carter has the latest. Brody.
Well, Kim Jong-un's military expo, it was held in conjunction with the 76th anniversary of the Communist Ruling Workers' Party. Kim showcased the weapons of mass destruction under the guise of self-defense rather than a threat to other nations. Sunday's Indoor Weapons Expo was the first of its kind in decades, where the regime flaunted an arsenal of ballistic weapons in a museum-like setting, complete with trains and submarines capable of firing missiles, detachable warheads, and a fearsome new long-range hypersonic missile. Along with the weapons, Kim and his sister, Kim Yo-jong, watched as soldiers performed a strange martial arts display, breaking bricks over their stomachs and heads. In a lengthy speech, Kim vowed to build an invincible military to counter what he called persistent U.S. hostility, saying, quote, "The U.S. has frequently signaled it's not hostile to our state, but there is no action-based evidence to make us believe that they are not hostile." North Korea experts say the regime is watching the Biden administration's efforts to win Iran back to the negotiating table with an eye to taking advantage of any weakness.
North Korea is also watching Biden's Iran policy. In that case, you have an administration and the Biden administration that's willing to give Iran near total sanctions relief for a limited nuclear deal. That is what we have done with North Korea since 1994. And I think that Kim might be interested in that kind of deal, but that deal does not make us safer.
Experts like Ruggiero are paying close attention to Kim's health. Some say his massive weight loss indicate he's sick. Some are worried that if he does die, chaos could ensue inside this nuclear-armed country. Ephraim, back to you.
Brody, thank you. Stay with us. We'll be right back. One of the first things President Joe Biden did after taking office was to pull the plug on building the wall on our southern border. So what did President Biden's decision cost taxpayers, contractors, and thousands of workers? CBN's Tara Mergener traveled to the Rio Grande Valley to find out who's been left in the lurch.
As promised, President Biden has stopped construction of the U.S. border wall with Mexico, Donald Trump's signature project.
All along the Texas-Mexico border,
we're going to build a wall.
A scene frozen in time.
The Biden administration chose to do nothing.
Once busy work sites, government-contracted crews are set to break ground in the spring.
Build that wall! Build that wall! Build that wall!
It was good for the economy. It was good for the valley. It was good for the people.
Sit silent. Gaping holes, the hallmark of a border wall.
People are going to come into our country, but they're going to come into our country legally.
Gone bust.
There will not be another foot of wall constructed on my administration.
With a stroke of a pen, President Biden bringing an abrupt end to Donald Trump's four-year fight to finish this wall. While the wall is mostly out of the national spotlight, the issue remains hot in the Rio Grande Valley, the busiest spot for illegal immigration in the country.
It's 7:29, News Talk 710 KURV.
Wall or no wall?
In my audience, the KURV audience, which is generally business-minded, they're business managers, business owners, and just hardworking people, overwhelmingly, this audience, absolutely, they'd say yes to a wall.
During the Trump administration, the U.S. government paved the way for hundreds of additional sections of wall to be built along the 2,000-mile border. Biden ditched the project his first day in office.
They're not worried about how it's hurting us here.
A delight to Democrats.
The wall is an immorality.
And environmentalists.
For every mile of border wall that they are building, they are clearing 20 acres of habitat.
But a blow to outnumbered agents and officers tasked with slowing the flow of drugs.
Without that infrastructure, without that barrier there, the cartels are free to cross their products anywhere that they want.
And criminals increasingly able to bypass them and get deeper into the country.
Human smuggling arrests are now skyrocketing here in the Rio Grande Valley. In Hidalgo County alone, they are now making several a day.
The numbers are just going up. They'll go down for a week. They'll come right back up the next week. So I don't see an end in sight.
Behind the scenes, a struggle of a different kind.
We have one of the highest poverty rates. It's really just very disappointing.
Sections of the wall like this one can be spotted all over the Rio Grande Valley now. When the Biden administration stopped construction of the wall, an estimated 5,000 people lost their jobs. What was your reaction?
Well, I took it a bit hard because I was counting on that. I was counting on that job.
So was Grancelli Construction, hired.
And people came down from all over the country and hired local people.
Then fired when the wall was nixed.
How many people did you have to lay off after this happened?
14.
This is where a section of the wall was going to be.
Yes, right along the river here. Was about a 4.7-mile segment.
But the company is still on the hook for the millions it poured into a cement plant built just for the wall. Leasing land.
It's about $35,000 or $40,000 a month we're carrying.
And buying equipment he says the federal government won't let him use or sell.
We're waiting. They say they're going to reimburse everyone, but it hasn't happened yet.
At this site, there are exactly 1,087 steel panels that would have been enough for 2 miles of border wall. This dried up paint can and some cobwebs, reminders of what might have been.
It's just a bad deal. I laid off 32 employees.
AJ Steel LLC, who made these panels, also remains in limbo.
How much money did you lose when this stopped?
I'm at it right now a little bit over $300,000.
As bills pile up.
I sent a certified letter last week demanding payment.
From the contractor?
From the contractor. And he basically told me, he said, I ain't got the money to pay.
And you're stuck.
Yes. And now the owners off of this property are asking me for $20,000 a month until all this material is moved out of here. At the end of the day, if I don't get my money soon, I'll just take all this and scrap it.
Like Garza and Grancelli, many South Texas contractors are hoping Governor Greg Abbott will make good on his promise to resume building the wall where Donald Trump left off.
Had the border so closed, the best ever.
and now it's coming through at levels that they've never seen before.
Using $250 million in state money and taking donations to fill holes along the 1,200-mile stretch of border here.
Texas is stepping up and doing a job that is truly the federal government's job.
A plan that doesn't sit well with everyone.
Definitely not allow states to enact or govern themselves when it comes to this federal issue, because it's not their issue.
Polls show Texans are split over whether or not to build the border wall. Meanwhile, the country is on track for 2 million illegal crossings like this one in 2021. In South Texas, I'm Tara Mergener, CBN News.
Still ahead, Skillet has a new release that's all about surviving. The story behind the song next from a Studio 5 interview right after this. Christian rock band Skillet is touring again with new music. Surviving the Game is the band's latest track. Its frontman, John Cooper, takes a break from the stage to sit down with us in Studio 5.
To be more than a conqueror, you have to learn to enjoy the pain if you want to survive the game.
When we were coming with the title, Surviving the Game, it just felt right to me. You're surviving it, you know, you're optimistic, but it doesn't ignore the difficulty. Sin is causing us to suffer. We're all going to be suffering down here to some degree, you know what I mean? And that's what Surviving the Game's about. Christ has won that battle over death and sin, but we are still here, and there is still some suffering, and there's a lot of battle that we have to do. Victory on this earth is going to be a perpetual thing. It's a daily decision. Now, you know, spiritually, the victory has been won, but you got to walk through it. I can be unstoppable, gonna walk through hell, gonna shake the walls. And that's the lyrics of the chorus. And that to me summarizes all of that. I know I can be unstoppable because of Christ. When that guitar riff comes in, it feels very like out of control. And I think that people recognize, yeah, I feel chaotic too, and they should. I mean, the world is just absolutely insane right now. The best part of the job, honestly, is knowing that your song has touched someone in some way. And you see it when you play live. You see people. The first show we came back and played this year, I mean, there were people crying, people like crying. They were so happy they were crying. And I remember thinking, at first I was thinking, I can't believe it, but I kind of felt emotional too. It was so wonderful to see people unify. There's a song about, you know, the not bowing your knee. Not bowing the knee could have political implications, civil implications, religious, they can have all these implications. But if I could look at the box of Christianity, there is a lot of pressure for people in the entertainment industry to stop being so blatant about the gospel. You're even losing support in vast swaths of Christianity where they're like, that's just too radical. You shouldn't be saying it that radical. So I think a lot of our fans, they pick up on what these lyrics mean when I say never bow the knee when it's do or die. They know what I'm talking about, even if they can have all sorts of other implications. And I hope it encourages people to stand up for their faith.
And for more stories like this, be sure to catch an all-new edition of Studio 5 this evening. Tonight, we sit down with a new face in a popular television drama, Queen Sugar. We go behind the scenes of the latest Bond film, and Justin Bieber has a new documentary. They're all part of this week's show. You can catch Studio 5 on the CBN News Channel at 8:30 Eastern Time this evening, or you can find it on the CBN News app. Up next, she's 110 years young, and we're going to hear what she says has been the key to her long life. We've got the story for you when we come back. Stay with us. A woman who just turned 110 credits her relationship with God as the source of her long and happy life. Viola Brown of Berryville, Virginia, celebrated her special day back on October 4th with an array of friends and family stopping by her home to wish her another blessed birthday. That is according to the Winchester Star. The county even named October 4th, 2021 as Viola Roberts Lampkin Brown Day. The supercentenarian said she was honored to receive the recognition, but every day that the good Lord lets me stay here is my day. Brown's nephew, Andrew Roberts, told the Christian Post his great-aunt lives for the Lord and seeks to honor him in every area of her life. He says there's never 1 minute that Jesus doesn't drip from her lips. You can see the full story on Viola's life at cbnnews.com. Time now for your Wednesday word, and today's word is ordinary. Remember this: God uses ordinary people to do extraordinary things. He only asks that you be available, willing, and obedient. With that word, I encourage you to make this a wonderful Wednesday, and be sure to have yourself a wonderful rest of the week. That is a wrap for this edition of CBN NewsWatch. You can always find more of our news programs on the CBN News Channel at any time or online at cbnnews.com. We'd love to know what you think about the stories you've seen today. You can email us, newswatch@cbn.com. You can also reach out and touch us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Make it a wonderful Wednesday. We'll see you right back here tomorrow. Bye-bye, everybody.